My husband swapped my birth control pills to get me pregnant. Full story. My husband sabotaged my birth control so I'd finally give him a baby. I only found out because my OB asked why I'd stopped taking my pills, while I was still taking them every single day. My name is Alyssa Carter, I'm 29. My husband is 32, his name is Ethan. We live just outside Seattle, Washington, in a small 2-bedroom apartment near Renton with our cat, Machi. We've been together for 7 years, married for 3. If you'd asked anyone in our friend group a year ago, they would have said we were rock solid. We weren't perfect, but we were the stable couple. Inside jokes, shared Spotify playlists, Sunday meal prep, all that cozy domestic stuff. We met in 2018 at a friend's trivia night in Capitol Hill. I was there for the free nachos and accidentally sat at the wrong team's table. Ethan slid over a pen and said, "If you can help us not completely fail the movie round, we'll let you stay." We won that night. He walked me to my car in the rain, gave me his hoodie, and texted me the next morning. Still thinking about the girl who knew every line from The Princess Bride. Coffee. He was thoughtful, charming, and made me feel safe in a way I hadn't felt in a long time. I also told him something on our third date that I thought would have scared off most guys. "I'm not sure I ever want kids," I said, staring at my latte. I grew up basically raising my little brothers while my parents worked double shifts. I love them, but it burned me out. Maybe one day I'll change my mind, but right now, I just want to be an adult without being somebody's mom. He thought for a second, then said, "That's totally fair. I do want kids someday, but not anytime soon. We're in our 20s. We don't have to decide today." That answer made me like him even more. 4 years we stayed on the same page. Not now. Whenever my mom would joke about grandkids, we'd laugh it off. When his sister had a baby, we'd visit, hold the baby, hand him back, and then go home and nap for 3 hours. We used birth control pills plus condoms at first, then just pills once we were married and I was comfortable with my routine. Every morning at 8 a.m., my phone alarm would go off with a little label. "Don't make a baby." Ethan would jokingly call it the baby alarm. In 2024, something shifted for him. It started small. We'd be in the grocery store and he'd see a toddler clinging to their dad's leg and say, "That could be us in a few years." Or we'd be scrolling TikTok and he'd save every video with babies laughing. I thought it was cute, but I also felt that little internal clench, "I'm not ready." One night in September 2024, we were lying in bed and he said, "Where do you see us in 5 years?" I said something like, "Hopefully a house that isn't falling apart. Maybe a dog that doesn't freak out at the mailman." Still very into each other. He added, "And a kid." I hesitated. "Maybe," I said carefully. "I still don't know. I'm not saying never, but pregnancy and birth really scare me. And we're barely affording rent as it is." He went quiet, then said, "I just don't want us to wake up at 40 and realize we waited too long." We had versions of that conversation more and more often. He'd say things like, "My mom was 30 when she had me. I always thought I'd be a young dad. You're going to be an amazing mom, you know that, right? Biology doesn't wait just because we're stressed about money." I'd respond with, "I know, but my fear doesn't magically vanish because you're broody. I want it. I'm just not there yet. Can we please table this until we're a little more stable?" We agreed, or so I thought, that we'd revisit the conversation in a year. Life went on. I refilled my pill prescription every 3 months like clockwork at the Safeway pharmacy down the street. I took them every morning with my coffee while scrolling emails. Ethan saw me do this thousands of times. In February 2025, I started feeling off. First, it was small stuff. I was more tired than usual. My boobs were sore. I cried at a commercial where a dog got adopted. I blamed work stress. I'm a project coordinator for a marketing agency in downtown Seattle, and we just lost 2 people, so my workload doubled. Then my period was late. I've always been pretty regular. On the pill, my cycle is like clockwork. When I was 3 days late, my inner alarm bells went off. I told myself, it's fine. Pills aren't 100%. Maybe your body's just rebelling from stress. On day 5, I bought a pregnancy test just to rule it out. I took it on a Sunday morning, while Ethan was still half asleep. I fully expected one line. Turned positive before I even set it down. I felt like the ground dropped out from under me. I stared at that second pink line until my vision blurred. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. I walked out of the bathroom and sat on the edge of the bed. "Ethan," I said. My voice sounded weird, flat. "Can you wake up for a second?" He rubbed his eyes. "What's wrong?" I handed him the test. He squinted, then his eyes went wide. "Are you serious?" he whispered. I nodded, numb. For a moment, his face looked genuinely stunned. Then slowly a huge smile spread across it. "Oh my God," he said. "Oh my God, we're having a baby." He reached for me, pulling me into a hug. I sat there stiff, not hugging back. This wasn't supposed to happen," I said. "I've been taking my pills." "Sometimes they fail," he said. "We knew that." I pulled away and looked at him. "I take them at the same time every morning," I said. "Have you seen me miss a day?" He shrugged, still grinning like an idiot. "Babe, accidents happen," he said. "Maybe this is meant to be." I went to the bathroom, locked the door, and sobbed. I made an appointment with my OBGYN at Swedish Medical Center to confirm the pregnancy and talk options. Ethan offered to come, but I told him I wanted to go alone because honestly, I didn't know what I was going to do yet. I grew up in a conservative family where abortion was never discussed except in whispers. I'm pro-choice in theory, but I'd never really imagined myself facing that decision. My brain was a mess of conflicting thoughts. I'm not ready. What if this is my only chance? I will resent a baby I didn't want. I will regret it forever if I terminate. I felt trapped no matter which way I turned. The OB visit confirmed it. I was about 6 weeks pregnant. We talked through everything, continuing the pregnancy, terminating adoption. She was kind and non-judgmental, which made me cry again. At one point, she glanced at her tablet and said, "I see here you've been on a combined oral contraceptive, Junal Fe 1/20th, for 5 years. When did you stop taking it?" I frowned. "I didn't," I said. "I've been taking it every day." She looked up, eyebrows knitting together. "Are you sure?" she asked gently. "You haven't missed any packs, or gone off for a month to try naturally, or anything like that?" "No," I said. "I refilled it in November, December, and January. I haven't missed." She paused, then said, "Would you mind if I take a look at your current pill pack?" I had it in my purse because I had taken my morning pill on the bus. "Sure," I said, confused. I pulled it out and handed it to her. She popped one pill out into a little medicine cup and looked at it under the light, then frowned deeper. "This doesn't look like Junal," she muttered. "Hang on." She scanned the pill with some sort of ID tool they had, then tapped on her computer comparing NDC codes. "Alyssa," she said slowly, "this is a placebo iron tablet. This is an active birth control." My skin went cold. "What?" I breathed. "That can't be right." She turned the pack over. "Look here," she said, pointing to the back. "The packaging says Junal, but the actual tablets inside are the wrong shape and imprint for that medication." I stared at the pack. "That doesn't make sense," I said. "I picked this up at Safeway. Like always." She hesitated. "Sometimes pharmacies make errors," she said carefully. "It's rare, but it can happen. But usually if a whole batch is wrong, we hear about it with recalls." She placed the pill back in the foil and handed the pack to me. "If you want to look into this, you should call your pharmacy and ask them to verify what they dispensed," she said. "But regardless, right now, you are pregnant. The how is important emotionally and legally, but biologically, we're here." I walked out of that appointment in a daze. A pharmacy mistake. It was possible. I wanted to believe that. But something in my gut twisted when I thought about Ethan's huge, instant smile. The way he'd been talking more and more about babies. The way he'd started reminding me to take your pill every morning in this overly casual voice. When I got home, I put the pill pack next to the 3 empty ones in the bathroom cabinet. For the first time, I really looked at them. The newer packs, December, January, February, had slightly different pills. Different imprint. My older empty packs in the trash bin under the sink still had a discarded pill or two stuck in the foil, tiny round with OU stamped on them. The new ones were slightly bigger. Oval. Different stamp. My stomach turned. I did what any anxious millennial would do. I Googled the imprint on the new pills. It was an over-the-counter iron supplement. I sat on the bathroom floor with my phone in my hand, shaking. Somebody had been giving me fake pills. Either the Safeway pharmacy had somehow put iron supplements into birth control packs, or someone had swapped my pills after I brought them home. Who had access to them? Me. And Ethan. I remembered something then, like a movie flashback. In December, he'd said, "Hey, your pill alarm went off when you were in the shower, so I grabbed your pack and put it on the nightstand," in this overly proud voice, like he'd done me a favor. At the time, I'd kissed him and said, "Thanks, babe." Now my brain replayed every time he'd been alone in the bedroom, every time I'd left my purse with my pill pack in it on the kitchen counter. I didn't want to believe it. I really didn't. I called the Safeway pharmacy first. "Hi," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I've been picking up Junelfe 1/20th from you guys for years, and my OB thinks my latest pack might not actually be Junel. Is there any way you could check the lot and imprint for what you've dispensed to me the last few months?" The pharmacist on duty, Karen, pulled up my profile. "We've filled Junel 120 for you regularly," she said. "Let me see. The manufacturer changed in November, so the pill shape might look a little different. What imprint do you see on the tablet?" I read it off. She paused. "That's not what it should be," she said. "Junel's tablets have LU and a number. What you're describing is actually an iron supplement. Are you sure you're reading it right?" My vision swam. "I'm sure," I said. "Does that mean I got the wrong medication?" She sounded genuinely alarmed. "Alyssa, if that's what's in your pack, then something is very wrong," she said. "We only dispense sealed manufacturer blisters. We don't open them. It would be almost impossible for the wrong medication to end up inside original Junel packaging on our end. So someone would have had to swap the pills after I picked it up?" I asked, voice barely above a whisper. She hesitated. "I don't want to speculate," she said. "What I can tell you is that what we have here in stock is correct. If you bring the pack in, we can report it as a product issue. But if the blister itself was tampered with after it left our pharmacy, that's not a manufacturer error." We hung up. I sat at the kitchen table, pill packs lined up, dots connecting in my head like a horrible constellation. Ethan wanting a baby now. Ethan reminding me, "Don't forget your pill." Ethan being oddly upbeat about an accidental pregnancy. My OB and the pharmacist both confirming my pills weren't real. I waited until Ethan got home from work. He walked in holding a little bag from a baby store. "I saw the cutest little onesie today," he said, grinning. "I know it's early, but where are my birth control pills?" I asked. He blinked. "What?" "The real ones," I said. "The ones you swapped out for iron tablets. Where are they?" The color drained from his face in real time. I don't know what you're talking about," he said, laughably unconvincing. I held up the pill pack. "My OB tested these," I said. "My pharmacy confirmed it too. These aren't birth control. You've watched me take these every day for months. So I'm going to ask you one more time. Did you switch my pills?" He opened his mouth, closed it. His jaw clenched. Then, incredibly, he tried to flip it. "You've been talking about anxiety and forgetting things," he said. "Are you sure you didn't just pick up the wrong medication sometime? I get them in a sealed box with my name and the drug name printed on it," I said. The only way iron supplements end up inside a Juno pack is if someone physically pops out each pill and replaces it. I let that sink in. Did you do that? He snapped. Okay, fine, he burst out. Yes, I swapped them. Are you happy now? My whole body went cold. Why? I whispered. He ran a hand through his hair, pacing. Because you were never going to be ready, he said. Every year it was not now. Another excuse. Money, stress, whatever. I kept waiting for you to realize what a good dad I'd be, what a good mom you'd be, and you just wouldn't. So you decided to get me pregnant anyway? I asked. Against my will? It's not against your will if we've talked about having kids, he snapped. You said maybe someday. This is someday. I stared at him, shaking. Someday doesn't mean trick me into pregnancy, I said. You violated my consent. You lied every single morning when you watched me swallow these. He scoffed. Violated your consent? Dramatic much, he said. I didn't rape you, Alyssa. We're married. We sleep together. I just let nature take its course instead of chemically stopping it. I actually laughed, a sharp, horrified sound. Birth control isn't chemically stopping nature, I said. It's my body, my choice. And you tampered with that choice. He started in with the speeches then. We're not getting any younger. Everyone I know who accidentally had a baby says they can't imagine life without them now. My parents are dying to be grandparents. You'll fall in love the second you see our kid, I know you will. I said, I might have chosen this someday. I might have said yes if you'd given me time and respected my fears. But now, all I can think about is that my own husband sabotaged my body to get what he wanted. He tried to hug me. I stepped back. Don't touch me, I said. That night I slept on the couch, clinging to a throw blanket like a life raft. The next day I called my OB again and told her everything. She was furious on my behalf. Alyssa, what your husband did is a form of reproductive coercion, she said. It's a kind of abuse. You have every right to feel violated. We talked again about my options. Continuing the pregnancy or terminating felt like an impossible choice. On one hand, ending the pregnancy felt like punishing an innocent potential life for Ethan's actions. On the other, I knew for a fact that if I continued, I would always remember that I hadn't chosen this freely. I took a week off work. I stayed with my best friend Jenna in her apartment in Ballard because I couldn't stand being in the same space as Ethan. He blew up my phone with texts. We can work through this. I only did it because I love you and want a family with you. Please don't punish our baby for my mistake. My mom, when I told her the truth, was initially horrified by the pill swapping. Then she said very quietly, But honey, you do want kids someday, right? Maybe this is just how it was meant to happen. That hurt almost as much as Ethan's betrayal. Jenna, bless her, was the only one who didn't try to spin it. He messed with your meds, she said. Full stop. If he replaced your anti-anxiety meds with sugar pills because he knew better, everyone would recognize it as abuse. This is no different. In the end, it came down to one question my therapist, whom I fast-tracked an appointment with, asked me. If you found out tomorrow that the test was a false positive and you weren't pregnant after all, would you feel relief or grief? I didn't even have to think about it. Relief, I said. Pure relief. So I made my choice. I scheduled a termination at a clinic in downtown Seattle. I didn't tell Ethan the date. I just told him my decision. He begged. He cried. He said I was killing our baby over a technicality. He said we could go to counseling, that he'd never touch my pills again, that we could reset, and pretend this was just a surprise blessing. I said, You made your choice when you took away mine. Jenna went with me to the appointment. She held my hand and let me squeeze until her fingers probably lost circulation. It was one of the hardest days of my life. I cried in the car afterward, not because I regretted the decision, But because I hated that my first pregnancy experience, something that should be about hope and agency, had been turned into a trauma. When I got home, Ethan was waiting. He could tell from my face. "You went through with it," he said flatly. "I did," I said. He looked at me like I was a stranger. "I can't believe you do that," he said. "To our child." I snapped. "I can't believe you tamper with my medication and still think you get to act morally superior," I shot back. "You tried to baby trap me. Google that term. That's what you did." He started talking about forgiveness, about moving forward. I said, "There is no moving forward from this. I'm done." I called a divorce attorney the next day. Legally, what he did is a gray area in our state, but my lawyer said it could absolutely be considered a form of abuse in family court, especially if he tried to fight me on anything. Luckily, we don't have kids and most of our assets are separate, so it should be relatively straightforward. Emotionally, nothing about this is straightforward. My parents are heartbroken about both the abortion and the divorce. His parents think I'm overreacting. My mom actually said, "He just wanted a family with you, that's not a crime." Maybe not in the legal code, but in my personal code? It's the biggest betrayal I can imagine from a partner. He didn't just lie. He played God with my body, deciding unilaterally that his desire for a child mattered more than my autonomy. Right now, I'm staying with Jenna while I look for my own place. Ethan is still in our apartment, but soon it won't be ours anymore. Sometimes late at night, I do feel a pang of sadness about the hypothetical baby that will never exist. I wonder who they would have looked like. I wonder if I'll ever feel safe enough to try again with someone else. But then I remember sitting on that bathroom floor, realizing the person I trusted most had been quietly undoing my daily protection for months. And I know I made the only choice that honored my future self. So that's where I am. My husband swapped out my birth control pills for placebos to force me into a pregnancy he knew I wasn't ready for. I discovered it because my OB and pharmacist realized my pills weren't real. I chose to end the pregnancy and am now divorcing him, even as people around me try to minimize what happened. What would you do in my place? Would you have stayed, tried to co-parent and worked on the marriage despite how the pregnancy started? Or would the pill tampering be an automatic deal breaker? Let me know what you think in the comments, I read them all. And if you like stories like this, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Reddit Story Vault for more Reddit stories, relationship chaos, and full stories just like this one.